With the new update, we have received 4 new Scaldra Weapons, which have a hidden gem among them. But we will get into that later on in the video. We'll save the best for last. I will also be going over the new temple weapon, Riot 848, as a bonus. I formatted each of these weapons so you didn't have to, and well, hopefully by the end of this video you can cherry pick which ones you think are worth it and have a build for them. Alright, let's begin. The first weapon on the list is the EFV-5 JUPITER. This is an automatic rifle, much like your AX-52 or Godfrey Prime, but this one's gimmick is its alternate fire sends out buckshots that consume 15 ammo a pop. Now when I first started using it, I thought, okay, it's just another generic rifle and so on, yeah, but it's actually not that bad. If you are a fan of just, you know, using an AR from time to time with a little twist, then honestly it's worth formering and using with certain frames. The alternate fire scales really well with the right setup, and you can absolutely demolish most steel path enemies with this weapon. It is not absolutely broken, but it's not bad by any means. Its stats aren't that bad either. It's got decent crit with decent status chance, and the buckshot has a good amount of multi-shot as well, which is really nice. On top of that, this weapon has innate corrosive, which is just always nice to have when it comes to Grineer-based enemies, or Scaldra enemies of course. The only thing about this weapon is the buckshot is very inaccurate, which is just not the biggest deal breaker, but this thing literally wants to fly everywhere but where you are aiming, which kind of makes sense since it is a shotgun after all. But you can make use of guided ordnance to increase your accuracy if you'd like to, but it would mean an extra former. However, you literally just need to get up close and personal to combat this issue. Like I said, it's a minor issue. The nice thing about Jupiter is there is innate slash, which allows you to mod for literally heat, viral, or anything really. It gives you a bit more flexibility since we also have innate corrosive as well. It's just nice. It's nice and flexible. For a Star Chart player watching this, you can use something like this here as a budget setup. If you're in the steel path, you can use a setup like this. We focus on crit, heat, and scaling our damage with aptitude. Pair this with a companion or self-priming with a secondary and you have some really respectable damage. Because the status chance isn't bad either, scaling multi-shot with this is the play since you can easily stack up heat procs with this and slash procs as well. Having a Bane and Elementalist is just the perfect combo here. And guided ordnance is completely flexible, you don't need it at all, it's just something if you really want to. I would recommend Deadhead unless you're going for something specific and you want to use something like maybe, I don't know, Blight or Frostbite. I tried an Acuity version, which works very well, but it comes down to your playstyle and what you like. Overall, just a really solid weapon that is satisfying to use and worth your former. And of course, pairing this with any gun buffing frames or anything like that will just make this weapon feel even better. Next, we have the Purgator 1. I think either way, that's how you say it. This one is a solid hit or miss, depending on what you like. I personally like it, but it's not the best. I know that, but I still kind of like it. It's a slug launcher that takes rifle mods, but its unique trait is when you kill an enemy with this weapon, they will erupt into a gas cloud, which by the way, these gas clouds actually do quite a bit of damage when scaled correctly. I'm not too sure how these gas clouds are scaled because when you do kill an enemy, these gas clouds technically don't proc a gas status effect onto nearby enemies. It's just a random gas cloud sitting there dealing damage. But I do know it scales with Viral and Elementalist as well as a Bane, so I know that works, which is pretty much what a normal gas proc would do. I can see this weapon isn't for everyone, but the damage can be somewhat respectable if built correctly. But it's not going to be a weapon that will shred everything in a click of a button, which is okay. It's not the Torrid. There are other weapons than Torrid, guys, trust me. Warframe's not just Torrid, I can promise you that. It's also another aptitude scaler. What isn't? This weapon does have a forced impact proc on, so you can also use internal bleeding. It's a single fire slug shot that only has 9 bullets in a clip, with really low ammo maximum. That is probably the biggest problem with this weapon. It's slow and something you really have to like the idea of for this weapon to use it, in my opinion. This is the Star Chart build, and here is a Steel Path version, which we scale Viral. And then I did try out a gas build on top of the unique trait, which actually works quite well. It's doubling up on the gas procs. And here is the internal bleeding build as well, since we force impact procs per hit. What would work really well is grouping enemies with this weapon and using gas clouds to destroy groups of enemies, and that's pretty much the only way I can think of making this weapon somewhat viable to kind of delete massive amounts of enemies. Overall, don't form with this weapon unless you like the idea of it, or you're grouping enemies up. It's not the best. For me personally, I still like it. And I guess with certain frames and synergies, I could push this to do some decent damage. But yeah, it's up to you. Not the best weapon. Next, we have the EFV-8 Mars. It's kind of mid. It's a pistol with 15 bullets that shoots out projectiles, which has decent crit and okay status chance. But its charged attack has innate corrosive, and it's a hold charge that shoots out a grenade. The old charge is more of a status primer. It can get your corrosive procs up pretty quickly, but its damage is okay. It's not bad, make no mistake, but it's not insane by any means. The only way I got it to scale nicely was to stack multi-shot, use galvanized shot again. Pretty much all weapons nowadays just need gun CO to do something fancy, and just pure heat since we have corrosive on the old fire. And then we make use of Cascadia Flare, and this is the main build I use, and here is the star chart version. I have tried a few other arcane setups and different ways of building it, but to no avail. I can't think of a use or a new way to make this do any crazy damage off the top of my head. I did find that it shines when you have aptitude and scale Cascadia Flare and focus on single target. It's not a group killer by any means, since your alternate fire uses 3 magazine capacity at a time. So it's another weapon where if you like the gimmick of it, or if you just think it looks cool, then you can go ahead and former it at your own discretion. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you enjoy what you are playing, that's what matters. Riot 848. Man, I really wanted to love this weapon, and well, it's not bad, but it's, I don't know, it's not as comfortable as I thought it would be. You have unlimited ammo and a magazine capacity of 16 bullets. When you reload, it will then warp the bullets that are essentially lodged into enemies or the wall back into your magazine. Now you can go behind walls, it basically has infinite punch through, and it will deal damage on the way back of where you pull the bullets out. And the infinite ammo is essentially a battery mechanic. You will deal extra blast damage when you reload and warp the bullets back, as well as the elements you have modded for. By itself, this weapon is just okay. However, if you use gun buffing frames or just use Temple, you can scale this weapon really well with the heat scaling, especially with Temple's 750% bonus heat damage. So by itself, I'm not too sure about it. However, once again, when scaled with galvanized shot and priming, the damage can be somewhat good by itself and also with other synergies. I wish it was a bit more so that you could essentially just hit 16 enemies and reload and just watch them all drop. But let's be real here, that's just an unrealistic expectation for me. Right, we can't have all the things we want in life. I don't know when, who, where, or how I would use this weapon, but I guess it's literally just for its gimmick, which is the reload, essentially doubling up on damaging enemies. And if you scale enough reload speed and fire rate, you can essentially create this loop of constantly doing damage, which can be quite satisfying. The main build I use for Riot is this one, and here is a budget version. You can of course play around with different arcanes and synergies, but I found Flare to be the best. Flat damage setup, that's what I found to be the best. Pretty much all of these setups are just stuck behind using gun CO mods with a primer, but that is realistically the way that we can scale some very good damage with them. But please just know that it doesn't mean you have to build this way. You can opt for another way that may not do as much damage, but it can still hold up in base steel path or just general enemies. Please, I encourage you to experiment, but yeah, the way I play is not necessarily the way that you play. These weapons are not crazy by any means, but they do have some cool gimmicks and such. Would I recommend Riot? That is completely up to you. If you like the reload mechanic of it, that's all I can say. I just don't know where I would personally use it. And then finally, we come to the hidden gem of the new weapons, and that is the melee Scaldra weapon. The dual Viciss, I think that's how you say it. Oh my goodness gracious me, Lord have mercy, these things are glorious. Firstly, they look sick, like damn, you feel badass holding these bad boys. But what makes the scythe so amazing is the fact that it has innate gas. And its unique trait states, on weapon gas status effect, gain 8% movement speed and 7% attack speed for 10 seconds, stacking up 5 times. So, innate gas and even more bonuses. This is just really nice quality of life. You thinking what I'm thinking? Melee influence, baby. Yep. Gas with melee influence is unreal. It's a match made in heaven, and this is a very powerful setup with this melee. Might just be one of my favorite melees just because of how cool it looks and how satisfying it is. In regards to the stances, I have only dabbled with carving Mantis and used the block attack combo without moving forward. But if you prefer another stance, by all means go for it. This is for you to test. Even not using melee influence and just scaling gas with this weapon is just elite. Melee influence just adds that extra spice in it. It absolutely shreds everything in its path. You could use melee afflictions as another option as well to scale your status effects even more. This depends on the stance, of course, and if you knock enemies down. Another amazing synergy, which is just absolutely perfect for this, is using melee vortex. Equipping the magnetic mod will further increase your attack speed and pulling enemies in, which makes the gas clouds just stack and absolutely shred everything. As you can see, I'm quite fond of this new melee. It is magnificent indeed. Here is the melee influence setup. Here is the vortex setup. Both are absolutely amazing. Here is the budget version. Yeah, this one is a hidden gem. I can imagine with melee buffing frames, this would be even more insane than they already are. I would say 1000% worth the former investment. Did not expect these to be so good. To conclude this video, the new Scaldra weapons are just okay. Besides the Jupiter and dual Viciss, whatever it is. Those are worth it 100%. The rest are just gimmicks that if you really like them, you can go for them. But yeah, just wanted to go over these quickly and do a semi-quick video going over my findings. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Onwards to the new Exalted reworks. I have to now dabble in all of those. Let me know in the comments below what your findings were with these weapons if you have built them already, and let me know if I'm right or wrong or something like that. But yeah, a huge thank you to all of our amazing channel members. Thank you guys. Your support is so appreciated. You guys are amazing. All right, enjoy the new sides. Bye.